Hi, and welcome to CryptoBiography. I'm your host, Brandon Starr, and this is episode 161, and it's part 8 of The Island. And here we go. The morning brought nothing, however. Carden suspected that the people looking on the boat were in fact looking for Aaron and had not spotted the boat as they went by. Since he had been lost in a storm, there was a large area that would have to be searched, and it was likely that they would not search again. So, for the next few days, until the next market day, he focused on fishing. He hadn't done much with all the extra events, but as the fish would be fresh, he should be able to sell it for a good price. Salted and smoked fish were fine, but a good fresh fish sold for the most. On market day, he only brought Tristan along, and before they headed out, Carden had a talk with him. "We cannot say a thing about Aaron," he advised. "We cannot mention even that we have a guest in our home or that we found a boat. None of it." "I understand," Tristan said. When they arrived at the market, all seemed to be normal. They took their usual places and put out the fish. But hardly any of their fish sold. Looking at the other stalls within view, Carden saw that his fellow islanders were having trouble selling their fish as well. "Tristan, do some scouting, will you? Find out why no one's buying fish today," Carden asked. While Tristan was away, Carden took out his whittling knife and a bit of wood he'd been working on. Usually, market days were too busy to get any whittling done, but not today. He was making a whistle, and though he had started it some time ago, it was finally nearly done. I'm going to redo that one. And as he had started it some time ago, it was finally nearly done. He thought about Aaron and what he had seen the last few weeks since the Potentions had come to the area. He thought about John Johnson and his son whom Care had saved. They'd seemed nice enough, but they did leave very quickly after giving their gift. He was making the final adjustments on the whistle and testing it a bit when Tristan returned. Carden noticed that he looked upset. "What's going on?" Carden asked. "The Potentions are going on," Tristan replied. "They're buying from a couple of stalls where the sellers are Potentions. It seems they aren't buying from anyone else until those stalls are sold out." "They told you this?" "No, I heard a family talking. A girl about my age was going to go to an Islander stall when her mother stopped her and said, 'We have to buy from Potentions first.' Then they went to one of those stalls." "Oh my." Carden stopped whittling. He thought for a while. Tristan continued to look at him, waiting. "Son," he said and looked around, but no one was near enough to hear. "We have a couple of hours before we go back. I need to find out more. You can watch the stall, can't you? The fresh fish will need new ocean water." "Sure, Father," Tristan said. "Thank you," Carden said. He gave him the whistle. "I think it's about finished." "I like it," Tristan said, giving a small blow on it. It gave a pleasant note. "I'll make sure I'm back before it's time to head home," he told him, as he walked off into town. Carden didn't know the best way to get more information about the Potentions. The Johnsons were farmers. They wouldn't be living in town, and unless he got directions, he could be searching for them for weeks. But John Johnson had told him about the church they were building on top of the hill. Before Carden made for it, he decided to look at the other stalls. He quickly found the new ones from the Potentions. They were easy to spot, having people around them buying. He looked in. Their fish were nearly gone. He noticed that the fresh fish didn't have enough water. They would be turning. "They're going to make their customers sick," Carden thought. Shaking his head, he turned deeper into town. Carden saw the church being built on the tallest hill, as he had been told. As he got close, he could see that it was going up fairly quickly. It was being made of stone, heavily walled. It was already as tall as a house, yet there was no indication they were going to stop building upward any time soon. And it was huge. There were a lot of workers on the walls, even on market day. Carden walked towards one of them, who was getting a drink of water. "Hello," Carden called as he approached. "Good day," the man replied. "Quite a building you're putting up," Carden remarked. "Yeah, been doing it a while," the man said. "Oh, sure. I'm from the island. Haven't had time to check it out before now. Seems like it's going up pretty fast. Yeah, we have lots of workers on it. How many people is it going to hold when it's done? Oh, about 1,400. Carden whistled. That's roughly the population of the whole town, isn't it? Maybe with the island, too? The man nodded. So you're going to have functions with the whole community? Yes. I suppose that will give some people a chance to see what potentianism is all about. What? No. I don't understand then. Everyone will be a potentian before long. So the elders decided that the new church would have to hold the whole community. I see. What of those who decide not to become potentians? The man looked uncomfortable and just shrugged. There was a long pause. I've got to get back to work, he said, and turned to walk back to the half-built church. Carden realized neither of them had introduced themselves. It wasn't his usual way, but somehow he couldn't bring himself to do it to the man's retreating back. So he turned and walked back down the hill to the market. When he approached his stall, he was surprised to see that there were a number of customers lined up to buy fish from Tristan. Tristan looked over him and smiled. Hey, Father, we finally have some customers. So I see, Carden said enthusiastically. They went through the small line quite quickly, however, and when they had, they didn't see another customer until they had closed up the stall and headed home. Even with that burst of business, they hadn't sold most of their stock. This had only happened once or twice to Carden. They would take back everything. The salted and the smoked fish would keep, or they could eat. The fresh fish would have to be taken care of right away. On the way back, Carden asked Tristan about the people who had bought at the end. They all came at once, Tristan said. I think they were waiting for the potentian stalls to close so they could buy from us with a clear conscience. I think, said Carden, that we should talk some more with Aaron about potentianism when we get back. And that's the end of the story for this week. Hope you're enjoying it. Obviously, there's more to come. If you have any comments or questions about this episode or previous episodes, CryptoBiography@gmail.com or hit us up on Facebook or Twitter. And thanks for listening. Words and music copyright 2020 CryptoBiography LLC, all rights reserved. Characters and events are fictional, fictionalized, or satirical.